Blessed be, moon sisters, moon brothers. Greetings on this new moon day. We are underneath one of the luckiest moons of the year. This is a new moon in Taurus, and this particular new moon is also bringing in a lot of Venusian energy. So tonight we will talk all about this new moon in Taurus as well as Taurus season. We will touch a little bit of base around, what am I trying to say? All about that base, we will touch base on Vedic astrology tonight as well. Venus is actually ruling both the eastern and the western side of astrology tonight, which is really interesting. So we will talk about Venus, and we will also be creating a honey jar, a honey spell jar, if you are in my 13 Moons membership, which you are if you're tuning into this live. Now, with that being said, you may be watching this as a replay or listening to this as a replay. And in that case, you are not going to get the instructions on how to make a honey spell jar. That is reserved for my 13 Moons members, but these recordings are in the membership. So if you want to become a member of 13 Moons and find out how to make a honey spell jar for this Taurus lunar cycle, then you can certainly go to my website, vinalene.com, click on my store or offerings, and you can find your options to join there. We have a monthly membership with a 30-day trial. We also have a 6-month and a yearly membership for those that want to commit a little bit longer. What is 13 Moons? Well, 13 Moons is my astrology membership where you can go online and pretty much find out anything you need to know about current cosmic events, how to journal and maybe work with the energy, magical practices, yoga practices, and much, much more around the themes of the cosmos. So if that is something that you're interested in, you're looking for a one-stop shop on where to get all of your information about astrology, both Eastern and Western, I would suggest joining 13 Moons. It is my astrological baby and something I'll be nurturing for quite some time now, and probably what I will be using as a home space for my astrological community in the future. Now, just a little house cleaning as well. If you are part of 13 Moons, thank you for your patience over this past month or so, as I've gotten a little behind on putting some of the information into the membership, but now I am back on track, and I'll be filling that up with all kinds of goodies for you. I also wanted to mention that we will be meeting more. I am going to have us meeting for the new moon, the full moon, and beyond that for magical practices. I'm also in the process of creating our online community, and this will look kind of like a Facebook group or a social media group, but it will be within my website, so you don't have to be, admin or managed by somebody else. It isn't affiliated with Meta or Google or anything like that. It's just my site and my little community space for all of those that are going to be members of 13 Moons. So that is coming up for those of you that are part of the membership. I just wanted to let you know. And I do want to start by just grounding in. Let's take a few deep breaths as well. Maybe find that nice hollow channel for your spine. Maybe you're seated, maybe you're standing. Wherever you are, let's take a nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Allow yourself to loosen up, get grounded, slow down a little bit, clear your mind. Let's do it again. Deep breath in through the nose, receiving that prana. Maybe holding that life force energy, letting it circulate for a moment, and then letting it go, maybe with vibration or sound. Moving into the apana space, again, grounding in. And maybe just one more time, maybe you stretch or reach out with this one. Deep breath. And exhale, bring it down. Welcome to our virtual new moon circle. Tonight is May 7th, 2024. We are honoring the new moon in Taurus, and we're also honoring Bharani Nakshatra in Vedic astrology. If this is your first time tuning into me through the replay, I also want to introduce myself. My name is Vina Lene Rachel. I am a moon priestess, an intuitive and medium, a Reiki master, a yoga teacher, a channeler of the divine. That is what my spiritual name means. And I do take these paths of divination very seriously. I am a professional diviner, professional in the world of divination. And I'm a professional astrologer, professional tarot and card reader. Like I said, I do energy work, body work. I'm a light giver in general, spiritual warrior. And I have been hosting these moon circles for quite some time. Now, very recently, I started hosting the live version of these circles exclusively in two different locations. One is the online international campus that I teach from. I teach mysticism, and I also help teach yoga teachers to become teachers, teach yogis to become teachers, if you want to put it that way. But I'm mostly on the mystical side of the international campus, and I'm going to be telling you more about that very, very soon. I can't tell you so much yet, but it is coming. And then on top of that, I do the moon circles in 13 moons in my membership. I used to do these circles on Facebook and Instagram, Zoom, other forms of social media, but over time I have made the decision very recently to go more exclusive and simply put the recordings out on those other channels and ways of reaching the social aspects of the world. So that's a little bit about me. I have been interested in astrology my entire life. I've been studying the stars for about 12 to 13 years at this point, and I have been professionally reading natal charts for over a decade. I have been hosting moon circles for about 7 or 8 years at this point. I've been working with the moon for about 15 years, and I do revolve my life, my business, pretty much everything I do around the cycles, the phases, and the energy of the moon. I am a selenophile. You could consider me a lunatic. I am definitely in love with the moon and obsessed with learning all about that energy, learning how to align and attune with it, and learning to work with it to manifest my dreams, which I have successfully done many, many times. So that's a little bit about me in the spirit of getting to know me if you're new. And if you're new to these moon circles, I also want to welcome you in. We are going to discuss the moon tonight. We'll discuss the new moon being in Taurus, what that means. I'm going to share a tarot reading for this lunar cycle. I'm also going to be sharing some elements that you can work with tonight. And of course, if you're part of the 13 Moons membership, we'll walk you through that honey jar ritual, how you can create a honey spell jar. So let's dive in. Let's actually start with bringing in the elements that you could work with underneath this new moon or during this whole lunar portal. I really like working with new moons because they bring in more energy than a full moon. The energy of a full moon is very fleeting. The phase lasts about 3 to 5 days. It might be 5 to 7 if you have an eclipse or a supermoon, but otherwise you have about 3 to 4 days ideally to work with full moon energy. Full moons are, of course, the most popular. They're what people tend to gravitate towards or understand more with or do more magical practices with. But a new moon is the beginning of the entire lunar cycle. So those 28 to 29 and a half days, the moon does its dance around our planet. Now, when that happens, we also have a lot of energy that we can work with for manifestation, for goal setting, for keeping ourselves aligned, attuned, well, and in harmony. The new moon aligns with the sun. Currently, the moon and the sun are in conjunction. So if you were to look out right now, you would have the earth, you would have the sun, and you would have the moon right in between. It's blocking the light of the sun. That's why the moon is dark right now, or why you can't see it. And with that, the moon is harboring the same energy as the sun astrologically. So our sun is currently in the season of Taurus, which means that the moon for a few days will also be in the sign of Taurus. Now, our moon changes phases and signs every 3-ish days or so, but the sun stays in a zodiac sign for about 30 days. So that's the difference between the two. And of course, when we get to the full moon 2 weeks from now, we'll have the moon on one side, the sun on one side, and the earth in between. And that moon is reflecting the solar light back onto the earth. So, the moon's making its little orbit around the earth, and in that process, changing a lot of energy, shifting signs, shifting phases as it goes along. When we work with the new moon, we have the potential to harness the energy or work with the energy for the entire lunar cycle. This is the theme of this lunar cycle, and whatever energy comes into play under the new moon is going to rule us for the next 4 weeks or so. So we have to understand Taurus season or Taurus energy in order to understand more about this moon and what's going on. Now, our moon is always representative of our subconscious. It's surpassing the ego. It's more of our emotional body, our sensitive side, our psychic side. This is where we have some of our magical gifts as well. I keep pointing to my lower belly, the internal moon, because this is our sacral chakra. And our lower belly or sacral space, our energetic womb, is our internal moon, internal lunar space. And again, that's also where we're processing emotion, where we have creativity, fertility, reproduction, conception. All of those energies are coming into play here. When the moon is in the sign of Taurus, there is more sensitivity because Venus is the ruling planet of Taurus. Now, Taurus is also related to Mother Earth energy. It is an earth sign, and it appears at the peak of springtime. So Taurus season is from about April 19th or 20th or 21st to about May 19th or 20th or 21st, depending on the year. And so we have this time of spring, fertility, life starting to bloom and blossom and show up all around us. And we also relate to that energy inside. So this is a time when we start to thaw out from winter. We want to move our body more. We want to get our energy flowing. We start to work on new projects. We get inspired to put energy towards ideas. We really want to make things happen. And that's piggybacking off the energy of Aries season that we just navigated. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Taurus is the second house, and this is the energy of taking all of that ambition, excitement, inspiration, fuel for the fire, and keep it burning now as you ground all of that into your earthly reality. Venus ruling this sign brings in art and beauty and aesthetic, enticing of the senses, sensuality, sexuality, relationships, anything beyond our family, anything beyond our home, our hobbies, our interests. All of these are going to be Venusian qualities that come into play right now. And we can harbor that energy in order to help ourselves really grow, really become fruitful, really get excited and fired up about what we want to create in this life. Venus is feminine energy as well, so it is related to the actual process of conception and fertility and bringing life into this world. But it doesn't matter how you identify or whether you have a womb or not, we all have the ability to bring this, these thoughts, these ideas of our imagination into our earthly reality. Venus does challenge us to be worthy of that, to feel worthy of our dreams, to feel worthy of receiving abundance and joy and bliss and pleasure. And so there is a dance you might be doing right now with yourself on whether you are worthy to simply slow down and take in life's beauty. Are you worthy of taking in life's pleasures without an excuse, without earning it, without having to receive it from somebody else? Can you treat yourself? There's a lot of self energy that is still very present right now. And again, that's a little bit of that selfishness or independence of the Aries energy lingering over. But Taurus energy also prefers to spend more time solo, to spend more time alone. Relationships have to have a lot of value and meaning to them. Otherwise, they're probably going to spend more time in isolation. So make sure that your relationships are valuable right now. Make sure that you are paying attention to your energetic exchanges, and maybe ask yourself if you need to spend more time with others, or do you need to spend more time with yourself. Clear my throat there for a moment. Speaking of springtime, we have the allergies going on, all the pollen in the air. So we also want to tend to ourselves right now, getting back to that selfishness. Taurus is the energy of the cosmic bull. And so thinking about the bull, what do they enjoy doing? Taking naps out in the grass, enjoying their fertile sexual side, grazing all day. Taurus energy, being an earth sign, being in this fruitful time of spring, being in the second house, being the second sign on the zodiac wheel, this is an energy of earthly experiences and really divine, luxurious experiences. So think fine dining, exotic travel, maybe even expensive material things like a car, a boat, designer clothes, a nice home. There is a money relationship here because of Venus coming into play, and we want to embody that right now. So maybe there's something expensive that you want to purchase. Mercury is now direct, and it's more of a wise decision to do that. Perhaps you want to spend more money where you feel it is worth it to do so, or where you can increase the value of something. Perhaps you simply want to treat yourself and go on a vacation, or go get a massage, or go out for a really nice expensive meal. There's a lot of different ways that you could bring in this energy right now to simply uplift your spirits and bring yourself into more bliss. Now, we also just experienced Beltane. Beltane was on May 1st, or May Day, and that's the midpoint between spring and summer. And it is a time to focus more on the bliss of life, the orgasmic excitement of life, the beauty, the things that make us feel good and feel happy and feel warm and fuzzy inside. That's where we need to be putting our focus right now. And that's because we elate the heart. And when we elate the heart, we become more magnetically attracted to all things that will continue to elate and uplift our frequency. So if we can be in our joy now, if we can just take in life's simple pleasures, if we can look around and really, really absorb the beauty that's here in existence that we really have to take time to notice, then the universe will continue to dish out more of that in the future, so that we can have this, la dolce vita, or the sweet life that we deserve. So we also have Jupiter coming into play right now. Jupiter and Uranus were in conjunction in Taurus underneath the last full moon, and now they're not necessarily in conjunction, but Jupiter is still in Taurus. So we have Jupiter, the Sun, the Moon, and Venus all in Taurus energy right now. And that's going to push us to expand our focus, expand our efforts, and expand our intention around producing a more beautiful life, around producing a more aesthetically pleasing life, around producing more sensuality and excitement and bliss. Okay? Jupiter is the planet of joy. It's time to enhance our joy factor and not really worry about anything else along the way. There is a time for work, there is a time for play, there's a time to give, there's a time to receive. We're in that time of play and reception and yin, and go with the flow as Venus encourages us to do. So this is a good time to take a lot of rest, to maybe sleep. I always joke that Taurus energy really loves to spend time in bed, whether that be sleeping, napping, lounging, reading a book, watching TV, snuggling, cuddling, doing other fun things in the bed, getting spicy, getting exotic, and also they do enjoy just resting, conscious rest, chilling out, being more still. And so you could do more meditation right now, maybe a restorative or yin practice, yoga nidra, or just simply take time for R&R. Take time to rest and recuperate. Let's move over to the other side of the world. I said I was going to bring in the elements, and then I just totally skipped that. Let's keep talking. We'll bring in the elements in a moment. Let's talk about Vedic astrology for just a moment. Vedic astrology is not something that I pretend to be an expert in, but I do study it. I have studied it for many years, and I do believe that it is relative to Western and tropical astrology. There are similar stories, similar themes, similar forms of guidance, and so I always like to talk about that Eastern perspective. On the eastern side of the world, this moon is in Bharani Nakshatra, Bharani. This is known as the star of punishment or the star of restraint. And it's represented by a yoni, and it's ruled by Venus. So this lunar mansion is calling us into a little bit of restraint, and also knowing when we're restraining too much. Are we punishing ourselves by not allowing ourselves to be in life's pleasures? Are we punishing ourselves by not giving ourselves permission to be worthy of bliss? So pay attention to that. On the other hand, are you too much in the enjoyment of life's pleasures? Are you deep in the throes of addiction? Are you giving away too much of your energy in an unhealthy or imbalanced way? Perhaps it's time to put some restraint on that and come back in and maybe, put a bit of a boundary on things. The yoni is representative of life, death, and rebirth. There's also fertility, conception, creation, reproduction, sensuality, sexuality, relationship, connection, magnetism, and the ability to simply bring whatever we want into the earthly real world. So this is a very powerful moon, no matter what side of the world you're looking at it from, to manifest, to make our dreams come true. Now, that's not to say that you can make a wish and just let it go. You have to make a wish, and you have to align your vibration with what you are trying to receive. In Vedic astrology, this moon is considered one of the most dharmic of the nakshatras. Bharani is all about duty and morality and a little bit of justice as well. So often we think of Venus energy as like the feminine and go with the flow and beauty and art, but it's also about justice and divine morality and making sure that everything is playing out in accordance in a source type of vibration. So when we have Venus coming into play right now with the star of restraint, Bharani Nakshatra, we're reminded that we need to restrain and control our energy a little bit and understand that everything is a bit reciprocative, that we have to give in order to receive. We have to clear, declutter, and make space in order to have room for what's coming to us. So right now, this is a very auspicious and powerful time to be contributing to charitable causes. So maybe you actually have the financial means to be giving actual money. Over the next few days, I'm going to be donating to some of our local shelters and causes. This is to give away in order to make space to grow more. You don't have to give away money. You can give away your time. You can volunteer. You can give away guidance, wisdom, education, gifts, crafts, what skills that you could teach or offer. You can also give away things. Go through your things. Get rid of what has no use for you. Recycle it and let it go out to somebody else. So this is a very important time to think about your purpose in life and how you're living and how you're behaving, and ask yourself if it is in accordance with the life that you're trying to step into and the person that you're trying to become. Now, the third day of this lunar cycle on May 10th is Akshaya Tritiya, and this is the most auspicious day to be giving to charities. It's considered a very lucky day. So if you're going to go out and maybe make a bold move, if you're asking for a raise, you're going to ask somebody out on a date, maybe you just go feel lucky and you go to the casino or you buy a lottery ticket or just whatever it is, make sure that you're also behaving in a way that you would be able to actually receive whatever you're trying to acquire to come into your life. Bharani is ruled by Yamadev. Yama is the Hindu god of death, destruction, rebirth. It is the one that goes and retrieves the soul and actually helps it to rebirth or reincarnate. And so this is a reminder that we're in this constant life, death, rebirth cycle all the time. We are constantly shedding an old version of ourselves and growing into a new version. So right now, let yourself be a little bit reborn. We've been through a lot. These past few lunar cycles have brought eclipses and retrogrades and all kinds of cosmic chaos. But now we're kind of out of that. We're in the calm after the storm. The rainbow is coming out to shine. And we can really think about who we want to become now on the other side of all of that wisdom and those lessons that we have gained. So let's bring in our elements, because it's always good to work with elements underneath the new moon or the full moon. And of course, you could certainly work with these elements beyond this lunar portal. If you wanted to work with the entire lunar cycle, you could do that as well. But I always like to start with earth elements, and I have a few crystals here that I'm working with tonight. The first one is rose quartz, and I even have a heart-shaped rose quartz. It's a very light pink, as rose quartz usually is. I also have this other rose quartz here for comparison, a little bit darker there, not in a heart shape. So you could use heart-shaped crystals as well of any kind, or rose quartz with this energy. Rose quartz is affiliated with love, it's affiliated with Venus, it's affiliated with your second chakra, your sacral energy, and because Venus is ruling both sides of astrology right now with this moon, this is a good one to work with to enhance Venusian qualities. I would also suggest maybe working with the other color of the heart chakra, green, through the power of emerald or maybe a jade. Remember that I mentioned massage is good to do right now. If you have one of those jade rollers for your face, you might do some jade rolling right now, or gua sha if you have a jade gua sha. Emerald, this is a rough cut emerald, so it's not going to be worth thousands of dollars. It's worth about $7. You can go get emerald, sapphire, ruby, a lot of these, what you see as precious gemstones in the jewelry stores. You can go to your typical crystal store and get these at a much more affordable option. Emerald is a great one to work with the heart. It's also a birth gemstone for Taurus. And so if you're looking to enhance that heart chakra, relate to that Venus energy, or if you're just trying to enhance connection, then emerald could be a great one to work with. I would also suggest maybe working with carnelian tonight. Carnelian is another stone related to the sign of Taurus, and also sometimes related to the sign of Aries, still lingering. Notice that blood red, a little bit of cream and black intermixed in there. But this is an energy or stone that enhances the energy of the heart. It helps with circulation. It helps with like cholesterol issues, anything of the heart, arrhythmias, literally anything that I can't even think, but heart-related energy. We want our heart to be in whatever we're doing right now. We want to ignite our heart's desires. We want to go after our truest heartfelt self. We want to be in our heart's purpose. We want to give to heartfelt causes. Carnelian is a great stone to help with all of that. Now, in addition to crystals or gemstones, you might actually want to work with coins or money tonight. So I have some Chinese fortune coins, and I also have just some American money. I'm also going to be working with some foreign coins, putting those on my altar, because I want to sweeten travel in my life in the future, manifest and attract more travel in my life in a good way. But yeah, you can use money of any kind or representation of money if you're trying to attract more finances, more money in your life. This is the money moon. Taurus is a very lucky moon. So if you're wanting earthly material things, especially expensive ones and expensive experiences for the human earthly life, then you might want to use these coins. So I'm going to put those in here as well. And then just for fun, I'm going to be working with shells tonight. Shells are representative of the home, and we are working to improve our home right now and bring some more money into our home to do some things. But also I'm trying to manifest an additional home, actually 2 additional homes, one in the Ozarks and one in the Panhandle of Florida. So I have shells, especially the kind that little critters used to live in. Of course, I didn't take any with critters inside. These were empty, but that's a great representation too right now. So just really anything. If you were wanting to get a new car, you could have a little miniature car right now. Or if you wanted to go on a trip, maybe you go buy yourself a suitcase, or you have a little mini plane, or a little package of the little nuts that they give out, right? Or however you want to view that. But whatever's representative of this, experience in human life that you're trying to enhance, that you're trying to bring more pleasure, bliss, and beauty into, that's what you would want to bring as far as earthly materials. Now, I also have the energy of smudging, right? I have just some white sage, but it also has some rose petals on it for that Venusian energy. And I'm going to combine this with our element of fire, second element, and that's going to bring in, a little bit of a ember there. That's going to bring in this third element of smoke, which you're starting to see burn off right now. And wind, air, whatever you want to call it, but this is purifying. So I'm going to take this 3 times around the technology and what I'm using to connect to you with. I'm also going to take this around me in a clockwise direction 3 times. And I'm just going to let it kind of burn in this space. I always like to pay attention to where the smoke is burning, how it's burning, where it's going. Right now it's kind of going towards you and towards the tech, and maybe off just behind where this computer is right now. And I'm in my studio right now, my yoga studio, Mother Moon Yoga. And I just did a Thai session on somebody, and actually the smoke is kind of going in that direction of my Thai palette. And so I know that perhaps something was let go of by my client, and we're just purifying that now. And maybe a little bit to you as well. Maybe you needed some cleansing, so there you go. But already that smoke is basically burnt out. So we know that the energy is pretty pure here right now. If there was a lot of smoke, we know that there was probably some stuff we were clearing out. But I keep my studio pretty clean energetically. Actually, literally every day. This is connected to my family's construction shop, and every day my father-in-law comes in and calls on the angels in this building. We also have actual scripture written in pencil in the walls, behind the boards and behind the bricks. And I come in every day that I come into the studio. I welcome the space. I say hello. I welcome in the angels, the deities. I welcome in source energy, and I usually chant Om and Shanti for peace a few times. So this is a very clean space, very energetically pure, and we can see that whenever we smudge in here. So regardless, great way to bring in more elemental energy into your circle. We also have the element of water. Now, of course, you could always have something to drink right now, a water, a tea. This is a new moon. It's a good time for maybe like a detox tea. I'm actually treating myself to one of my favorite holistic energy drinks, which doesn't have anything bad in it, but just makes me feel really good. I'm going to be up a little late tonight. You could treat yourself to a nice bevy tonight. Maybe you have some other forms of like wine, or, remember, this is kind of life's indulgences right now. So if you want to have a milkshake or a glass of wine or whatever, feel free to treat yourself to that as well. Maybe a good kava beverage. I like those kava. Can't think of the name. It has a 9 in it, but it's a brand. And Mitra 9, their kava drinks are really good too. So Regardless, other forms of water or liquid could be essential oils using the power of aromatherapy. Now, I love using aromatherapy because it brings in all the elements. We have the earth element from whatever plant, tree, whatever was collected. We have the fire element because these are produced through steam distillation. We have the water element, of course, because it's in liquid form. We have the air element because we breathe these in. And we have the fifth element, the ether, because this connects to our limbic system in our brain, which activates mood, emotion, and memory. Also, essential oils work with our actual frequency. So we vibrate as humans at about 62 to 78 megahertz, but these essential oils vibrate much higher. Plants, flowers especially, vibrate much higher. And so when we use an oil that has a higher frequency than us, it's also going to uplift our frequency. So aromatherapy is very powerful for emotional alchemy if that's something that you're working with. This is green mandarin. You could use mandarin, green mandarin, kumquat, tangerine, neroli, any of those oils that are related to maybe like an eastern citrus. Those are good for luck, fortune, and abundance. And remember, right now, this is the luckiest moon of the lunar year. So we want to enhance that luck through those eastern citrus oils. You could also use lime. Lime is the oil of the zest of life. And right now we have Venus ruling, really encouraging us to be blissful, to take in like orgasmic pleasure in everything that we do. And so to really harbor that zest of life, you might want to bring some lime in. Remember, you don't have to work with the oil. You could go get a lime and have some lime juice, or you could go put a lime in a margarita if you need to, speaking of libations. You could also work with the energy of orange just by itself. I really like wild orange or orange because it activates the sacral chakra. It activates our primal side. It enhances feelings of creativity. And if you're trying to put your energy towards blossoming your goals right now, this could be a useful one. It can also connect you to your sensuality, your sexuality, and relationship. But if you need to go one further step and boost your libido, you could be using jasmine right now. Again, we're in a season of fertility, and jasmine can really help to enhance connections. It's a natural aphrodisiac, and it also helps with fertility. So might want to use jasmine in your life as well. Now, cinnamon, and if you didn't have cinnamon oil, you could use a cinnamon stick, you could use dried cinnamon, you could use the cinnamon leaf from the plant, a stick of cinnamon gum if you're in like a pinch, cinnamon mouthwash. Cinnamon provides quickening and haste to anything. So if you're trying to rush things or hurry them up a little bit, Taurus is kind of a slow season. It takes its time. You might want to add some cinnamon to your life as well. Now, I already mentioned, and honey, of course, a different type of liquid magic, but you can use honey right now to sweeten your life. This is also very good for our wellness. It also helps with the seasonal allergies of spring if you're getting local honey where you are. And you can make a honey spell jar, which is what we're doing in the 13 Moons membership tonight. So another suggestion for liquid element. Now, the fifth element I already mentioned, it is the ether. It is where we're connecting in the digital spaces online. It's the Akash. It's anything that's beyond this planet. It is different frequencies. It is source energy. It's the angels, the archangels, the cosmic beings, the Akashic records. You know, anything that's not of here is beyond this space and time. I love working with the fifth element because this does move beyond time. It does move beyond dimensional space. And all of these elements I brought in tonight, you're feeling the energy of those whether you're here with me live or not, which is pretty cool. So that's why I work with the ether. That's why I always bring it in. And with that, we'll actually enhance the ether by calling on the guides and guardians of these 5 elements and the 5 directions. So usually I do this at the beginning of the circle For some reason, I didn't, and I'm doing it now, so we're going to do it now. But you can join me in this invocation by simply just hanging out. You can close your eyes or leave them open. Just simply receive whatever I'm calling in. I'm going to take a deep breath first just to set the space. I'd like to start by inviting in the guides and guardians of the East with their element of air. Fresh breaths and new beginnings of a new lunar cycle are coming into play now. We feel the deep energy of Apana and the exhale as we release and let go of what no longer needs to be attached. We welcome in the new inhales and life force energy of prana as we move forward into this lunar cycle. And we thank the guides and guardians of the East with their element of air for being with us now. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the South with their element of fire, lining up with the solar energy of the moon right now, really bringing in the energy of Taurus season to the themes of our lunar cycle. We also invite in the fires of our heart's passion to really ignite us towards a drishti that helps uplift our frequency and help us meet the life that we're trying to create. We thank you for the fuel to that fire and that drive. We thank you for being present, guides and guardians of the fire and the South, for being here now. We invite in the guides and guardians of the West, element of water, flowing in to help us be more in our internal waters and emotional processing. Venus energy helping us to go with more flow and also lean into life's juicy pleasures. We thank the guides and guardians of the West with their water for being here now. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the North with their element of earth, present in this Taurus earthly moon, present in the process of life, death, rebirth, and the general cycles that are related. Also thanking the guides and guardians of the North for all the magical elements that are here, like the crystals, the plants, and even this technology to be in the ether. We thank our ancestors for being here to guide us, and we thank the guides and guardians of the North and Earth for being with us now. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the fifth element, the Akash, the ether, the whatever was and whatever will be, the source beings, archangels, angels, deities, anything that needs to be with us now. We invite it in, and we thank the guides and guardians of the North and the Akash for being in our circle and being here now. So with that, our circle is open even more. We are even more powerful now. And with that, let's do our tarot reading. Then we will do our honey spell jar for those that are members. And we're not going to do a magical practice tonight as far as like a meditation or a chant or anything, but I would suggest a few things for you if you would like to try them on your own. The first one is to hold this yoni mudra. I've done it a lot tonight. This is the actual mudra or gesture that represents the yoni. And remember, the yoni is the symbol for this moon on the eastern side of the world, the Bharani Nakshatra. So you could simply hold that yoni mudra and just breathe and meditate. You could also chant the bija seed mantra, VAM, V-A-M, and that will invoke a little bit of that Venusian or sacral energy or internal moon. You could also hold the yoni mudra and chant VAM at the same time. So those are some more of the ritual things that you could do. I would also suggest maybe trying a yoga nidra practice. I have a beautiful one on YouTube right now with blooming flowers for an hour. I mean, seriously, if you couldn't lie down and relax, you could just like watch the flowers and totally zen out to that and to the beauty. But there's excuse me, there's multiple ways that you can attune tonight. Those are just a few of the practices that I would suggest doing. Let's talk about the tarot, past, present, and future guidance around this new moon and this lunar cycle. The first card that I pulled for our past was the Six of Pentacles. Six is always representative of our magic and also family or network or support system. And with this being pulled as our past card, we're being called to reflect on all that we've gained. Maybe in the past 6 months, maybe in the past 6 weeks, maybe in the past year since, June or the 6th month of last year. But this is a time of reflection. New moon portals are always a time of darkness, so we can look within. And we need to really pay attention to all the opportunities we've been given, all that we've acquired, all the people that have shown up in our lives, all the magic that has been growing and happening to help us get closer to our dreams, to help us get closer to becoming who we want to become, right? So notice the solar plexus energy surrounding the yellow. Notice the sacral energy within the orange. This is a reminder to live in our pleasures, to be in our joy, and to really do what we love. That's how we ultimately grow and feel wealthy. For the present, I always love a good ace card in the present. We have the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is about endings and beginnings. We also have Venusian energy here. We have the red of the root chakra, but we have the pink of the heart chakra. We have the sword growing up out of it. We are being reminded that we can blossom out of the root of our beauty. We are being asked now to say no to things that don't promote our bliss, our joy, our love for life. We are being told to also maybe set a boundary, build a fence, really so that we can focus on our hobbies, interests, and pleasures and not be distracted. This is also a reminder to prepare. We may be going into battle. We may be in conflict and battle right now. We currently have Mars in Aries. It's a very aggressive energy. And we have Mercury in Aries as well. And so there's a lot of assertiveness. There's a lot of boldness. You have that energy to go to battle if you need to. But this is also a reminder to choose your battles wisely as they come your way. One of the low sides of Taurus energy is the ability to trigger and fight back. And you might be harnessing some of that right now. So make sure that you only pick the fights that are worth picking and worth your time and energy, and learn to kind of let go of the rest. This message is enhanced in our future card through the Five of Swords. Anytime we have the 5, it's a symbol of maybe considering letting go. It's a little bit of stubbornness. Remember that the future holds a Taurus lunar cycle and a little bit of Taurus season still. And we still have these same energies. We have this root chakra and this heart chakra, but this time the swords are down instead of up. That means sometimes we need to lay down our swords and not fight the battle. It's not going to be worth it. Other times this means that we stick our swords in the sand and we bring up that strong fence to truly say, this is where I'm going to stick it out right now. This is my little fort of solitude. I'm going to sit here and be patient. This is a lucky lunar cycle. This is a lucky moon. This is about being bullish a little bit and being patient and waiting for things to blossom. So maybe you need to do that as well. There is also this warning, since this is our future card, this is a warning to not force anything or stick around with something that isn't growing anymore. Okay? So know when to walk away, know when to stick around, know when to build your fence, know when to build a new fence. You might need to propagate or pick up your territory and establish somewhere else. These are all things that can happen in the future right now, so get ready. I also think it's interesting because it's the 5, we're in the 5th month, and we also might want to look back, like over the past 5 months or over the past 5 weeks, or look ahead 5 weeks or 5 months or to a year from now, the 5th month of next year. May is a really interesting time. We end up with our Pluto going direct. We end up with the energy of Mercury in Aries shifting. Oh, I'm sorry, not Pluto going direct. Jupiter switches signs. I'm in a cosmic chaotic mess in my brain. Jupiter is going to go direct on the 25th. Not direct. I need to slow down. Jupiter is shifting signs, moving out of Taurus into Gemini. I keep thinking Mercury direct because of Gemini. So that's coming into play on the 25th, which is really potent. And we also have Mercury shifting into a different sign on the 23rd. So a lot of magic happening right now as far as the 5th month. And we just want to pay attention to everything that could come about during this time. In a nutshell, in a jumbled mess, that's our tarot reading for this new moon in Taurus. Okay, so really quickly, if you have any questions about this moon, about Taurus season, about Bharani Nakshatra, Venus, any of that, feel free to put it in the chat. I'm going to grab a drink. We are going to do our honey spell jar, and then we'll seal our circle by, again, invoking in the guides and guardians of the 5 directions. So let me know if you have any questions. You can put it in the chat now. And we'll double check that chat because as much as it shows me things, sometimes it doesn't. Okay. Not seeing anything in the chat right now. So let's dive in to making our honey spell jars. Now, if you're listening to the replay, I won't cut the recording just yet. I won't edit out just yet. But if you're curious, you can look up how to do this on the internet. The internet is an invaluable resource. There's tons of information. But you need a glass jar with a metal lid. In the spirit of reduce, reuse, recycle underneath this Taurus moon, this is a reusable spaghetti jar, spaghetti sauce jar, but it is a mason jar. Prefer that you use a mason jar of some sort with a metal lid, but you need glass, you need metal. Those are the 2 most important things. Also, because it's a honey jar, you're going to need honey, and then you're going to need anything else that you would want to sweeten up right now, okay? So this is going to cut off for those that are in the replay, and we'll cut over to the invocation for guides and guardians. But for now, if you're here live, just stick around. But if you would like to activate your honey jars more, we can call on the guides and guardians of the 5 directions again. And that's what we're going to do now. We are going to call on the guides and guardians to help magnetize the energy of our honey spell jars. So get your jar in front of you if you have one created, or maybe you just have a jar in front of you that you're ready to add to now, or maybe you just have some honey with you and you're ready to create from there. But wherever you are, get it in front of you. Take a deep breath. Take a moment to honor the guides and guardians of the East with their element of air, helping to bring new life force into our wishes and our dreams, and also helping us to breathe with ease, knowing that it's all already on its way to us without us needing to know or worry. We thank the guides and guardians of the East with their element of air for being with our magic right now. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the South with their element of fire, helping to really ignite the passions of our heart's desires, knowing that the fires burn now to bring more attention and awareness to our dreams so that the universe can truly pay attention. We also ignite the fires to show up to our intentions, goals, dreams, and highest self every day. We thank the guides and guardians of the South with their element of fire for being with our magic and being with us now. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the West with their element of water, coming through in liquid form of the honey the sweetener, and that sweetness or sweet nectar of life, the amrita that drifts down from the moon. We lap it up now, and we invite in more beauty, bliss, and pleasure as we lean into the flow of water. And we thank the guides and guardians of the West with their element, being with our magic and being with us here now. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the North, the elements of this planet, our ancestors, the representations of our dreams that we've put into this jar, the energies that we're working with now, all of the magic of this earthly realm. We thank the guides and guardians of the North for it. We thank you for being with our magic and with us now. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the fifth element, the Akash, the magic, the ether, the all that ever was, the all that ever will be, the unexplainable, the mythical, the mystical, the magical, archangels, angels, cosmic beings, deities, source consciousness in itself, ultimately. So much magic is now brewing to help us create that life that we desire, the life of our dreams, the life of our highest self. We thank the guides and guardians of the fifth element for being with our magic and being with us now. With that, the magic is here in our jars. The spell has been activated. And we will continue to only now receive the sweetness as we continue on in our dharmic purpose and intention. So I'm going to go ahead and blow out this candle for now because I know the magic's sealed and it's sitting there now, and I will light this candle again as I add more to my jar later. And also let that be a representation of our circle being complete tonight. If you have anything you'd like to put in the chat now, go ahead. Otherwise, I just want to take a moment to wish you a happy moon. Wish you the most fortunate blessings underneath this lucky Taurus money moon. And also wishing you a lot of peace and rest and relaxation, rejuvenation, restoration, all that you may need underneath this new moon. I don't see anything in the chat, so I believe we will close our circle officially now. We will be meeting again in the 13 Moons membership on the 23rd of May. That is a Thursday. We will meet at 8 o'clock Central Time in the membership, just as usual. We will be discussing the full moon of Sagittarius. And I have a little bit of an idea about a modern day practice that we will do to help relate to that Sagittarius energy. I can't wait to meet with you then. If you are not meeting with me in the membership, of course, you can learn all about the moon, the stars, and more on my website, vinalene.com. I tend to write things that I do not say and vice versa, so you can always find more information there. You can also find more on my Mother Moon Yoga YouTube channel or find me on social media. Okay, loves, until we meet again, blessings to your spell jars, blessings in your practices and processes of manifestation. Loka, somasta, sukino, bhavantu. May we all be happy. May we all be healthy and well. May we all feel safe and at peace and free. May we all feel loved, be loved, love one another. And may our actions, our intentions, our mindset, our frequency, and our behavior contribute to that happiness, that health and wellness, that freedom, peace, and safety, and that love for all. And so it is, and so it already is, and so it is happening, and so it mote be. Blessed be. Namaste.